Alright, today we're going to move into Chapter 2 of the Tidradio H3 series, and this video will also kick off Chapter 1 of the Tidradio H3 Hacking and Custom Firmware series. With that said, we do want to warn you that you download these firmwares at your own risk. The developer, myself, and other parties are not responsible if something happens to your radio, so do beware you are doing this at your own risk. All right. So for the Chapter 1 of the Tidradio H3 series, we're going to be showing you how to get the flasher, which can help you update your custom firmware or your original firmware if Tidradio puts out an update. And then for part 2, we're going to show you how the flasher puts the custom firmware on it, and then what you can do with that custom firmware to an extent, and then in following videos we'll go into more extent on that. But with this custom firmware, you will be able to remotely control your radio from your computer and phone, and the firmware does come with its own programmer, and there is someone working on Chirp for this firmware. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the Tidradio website. We're going to start by getting our software and firmwares we need. So we're going to go to software. All right, and we're going to scroll down until we see our Tidradio H3 unlocked. Right there it was. All right, and then we're going to hit download right there. It is going to ask you to log in to this website to be able to get the software. That is one of the criteria there. Exit out of that. I accidentally right click. All right, there we go. Download. And over here in the right, you will see the software is downloading. All right, the next thing you're going to need to get the custom firmware is you're going to want to pull up the Tidradio H3 hacking Facebook page. Thought I'd tell y'all this while the other link was downloading. Let's see if we're downloaded here. All right, we're finishing up. And this folder is going to give you the updated original firmware for Tidradio. It's also going to give you that flasher we were talking about. So there'll be a couple different things in that folder. All right, so we're going to open it up. I do already have this downloaded on my computer, but I still wanted y'all to see how to do it. So at this point, you're going to highlight this and you're going to hit extract all. All right, and then you're going to hit browse and decide where you want to extract it. I have all my HT radio stuff on my desktop, so I'm going to go into my HT radio, Tidradio, H3. These are folders I pre-created, so you can just extract it into your downloads folder and then move it as you see fit. And I think I have it just in this folder like this. So I'm going to hit select, extract. It could possibly tell me it's already in there. In that case, I'm just going to hit replace. Okay, so I put it in a different folder, but it's putting it in there. All right. So once it's downloaded, you want to go in here and you want to look for IAP. So let's see. Oh, no, that's not what I wanted. All right. That's the folder we want. And then I'm not sure if it's under programmer or firmware because I moved mine to my own little area. All right, so there it is. You want to click on this, the TDH3 IAP setup. Luckily for me, I already have it downloaded. And when you open it up, it's going to look like this. You got your COM port up here where you put your bin file right here, and then you hit open, and we'll go into that in some more detail in a second. All right, so now we're going to go over here to Tidradio H3 hacking. Once you get on the Tidradio H3 hacking Facebook page, you're going to go to files. And then the next thing you want to do is download the latest file. If for some reason when you download that file it doesn't have the programmer for the firmware in there, you could go back and download one of these that says bundle, but this one does have the firmware and the programmer, so we're going to go ahead and download that one. So now what we want to do, now that we have our custom firmware downloaded, is we want to hit open file. When you open that file, we're going to go to downloads, and then here is our file, NicFW H3, and we are version RC 2.58 is where he's at. He is updating this daily, so that is another thing to be aware of. It is still in progress, but it is awesome already. All right, so what we're going to do is extract this the same way we extracted our flasher. We're going to hit browse. I'm going to put it into my dedicated folder there, and I'm actually going to go back one. I'm going to put it in this folder because this is just my bin files. All right, so we're going to hit select folder and extract, and it's extracting that. And like I said, this will give you the programmer, which will remote control your radio from your computer, and it requires no cable. It will also program the radio without a cable. And this makes it where you can still hear the audio from the radio while controlling it from your computer. So it's like having a radio on your computer with a speaker beside it, in a sense. All right, so right there's what we needed. NicFW H3 RC 2.58. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go back to our flasher and open that up, the TDH3 IAP. Fun fact, just to let you know, the H8 has a separate IAP, which you can download from the same Tidradio website. All right, so we're going to click over to the other camera now and show you how we get it plugged up so we can flash this custom firmware. All right, so we'll see you over there on that side. All right, y'all, so now we're going to take one end of our programming cable. Let me show you what that looks like, just for people who might not know, but at this point, I figure a lot of you know. You can get any brand. I'm using a Baofeng. All right, and I think you can do this with the Type-C cable too, but I'm not attempting that. This is what I'm used to. All right, and then on the side of the radio, you're going to open up that little flap, and you're going to put in your K port. All right, just like that, all plugged in. You want to start with the radio on, just so your flasher can find the COM port, and we are going to switch over to that screen, and we'll put this down in the overlay. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to open up our flasher, and we're going to hit COM port. This does take a minute sometimes, so be patient. And I already know that my COM port is 6. You may have to work on that to figure out. So 6 is highlighted. I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to hit Open File. All right, and it's going to bring this up, and I want my NicFW H3 RC 2.58. If you don't see yours, you might have to go up here and figure out what folder you saved it in. So I'm going to hit Open. Now, what you want to do next is turn your radio off. Then you're going to hit open file, or I'm sorry, not open file. You're going to hit the start button. All right. It shouldn't do anything. Then, after you've hit start and you have end on your screen, you're going to hold down the second button and power on. Then you should start seeing this blue bar down here move across your screen. Once you see that blue bar, that means your firmware is being downloaded to your radio. And there you can see on my screen it says 2.58. And we have the new firmware. There it is. Alright, so now we've got our custom firmware downloaded, and we've learned how to flash firmware updates from Tidradio on their original factory firmware. So now what I want to do is show you a little bit of insight into what we're going to be doing in the next video on the subcategory of the Tidradio H3 hacked firmware by Marcus Dudley. Before I get to that, I do want to remind you that we will have links to all the information in these videos located in the description, and on the TikTok platform, we will have a link in the comments that will take you to the description of the other platform so that you can find all that information. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go back into that file that we unzipped for the custom firmware. And in that file, you're going to find NicFW Programmer. This is your programmer and your remote control for the PC. There will also be a remote control for your phone as well, and we will show you that in the next video. But I did want to give you a sneak peek of at least one of the remote controls. Okay, because my computer is slow, I went ahead and opened it, but this is where you would click. Right here, and it's a little picture of the top of the radio. Alright, so we have it opened here. Then if you look in the bottom right corner, there is a Bluetooth box. You want to check that Bluetooth box. When you check the Bluetooth box, you'll see it down here. It'll start saying connecting. Alright, because I have already connected to this radio, it knew to connect to it, but if it didn't, you click this arrow and it'll give you your options. So I'm going to click it anyways just to be safe. It says Bluetooth disconnecting, Bluetooth connecting, and now we're just waiting for it to say connected. Alright, it says connected. Here's your programmer right here on this screen so you can see. And as you can see, there's all kind of cool options of things you can do up here. We will slowly go through that over time. But right now, I want to take you to one of the coolest features, which is the remote. And we are going to go ahead and I'm going to hit on here the scan mode, and maybe we'll get lucky and pick up some audio. So as you can see down here in the bottom right corner, I have started scanning. I'm going to turn up my volume. And if we pick something up, I will just stop talking so y'all can hear that for a minute. So anyways.
Engine 10 responding part 4. Engine 10, show you're responding part 4, 155.
All right, there you go. So you hear some audio. So the audio comes out of the speaker of the radio. It does not come out of the remote from the computer or your phone. So, like for example, I have mine hooked to a ground plane on my roof, and I use it like a scanner. So I can control it from my computer, and then the radio is over to the side in my station. Same if you had it hooked up like in the dash of your car or on your belt loop and you didn't want to remove it. You can have an earpiece in, you can change the channel and change menu settings. I can show you that right here. You can click on the blue M, and sometimes it might take a second, but it'll open your menu down here. Oh, I know why it's not opening, because I'm in scan mode. So let me come out of that and then hit the blue M, and there you go. There's your menu, and you can pan through that. But I don't want to go too much into it because I want y'all to be able to see me break it down as we go through the chapters of the video. All right, so I'm gonna put it back in the scan mode for just a second to show y'all just one more thing. I wanted to show you that the breath LED and the signal bar at the top are both reflected in real time as it's happening, and just really neat what Marcus Dudley is doing here. So if you want to learn more about this, don't forget to follow or subscribe, um, like and heart it and share it. And if you're watching this on TikTok, I may have stated this before. We will have a link in the comments that will take you to my other platform and let you open up all these links to see this different stuff. So stay tuned. We're going to continue this journey. And don't forget, when we reach 1,000 followers on TikTok and YouTube, we're going to put it into a drawing and we're going to pick one person to win a Cobra 29 CB radio. So share with your radio friends. Give y'all all a chance to maybe win that radio. And stay tuned for more 73s. And thanks for watching The Night Reaper. And we're out.